Hello and welcome to this presentation of Excel to Sage. My name is Ara Martirossian and I'm going to show you how to import printer rental and meter readings into Sage as invoices with just one click. So what are the invoicing requirements? They're pretty simple really. If you are in the business of renting printers out, there are two or three components. The first is the printer rental. So what you're going to have is multiple rates based on daily, weekly or monthly. But you're also going to have copy charges. Those will depend on, again, you're going to have different rates for black and white copies as opposed to color copies, faxes, scans and so on. The newer photocopiers have made life a lot easier because they can be configured to automatically email you the meter readings from the printer. And this will happen on a daily, weekly, monthly basis depending on how you set it up. And they would normally go to a central email account, and we'll have a look at that in a second. So what's Excel to Sage? Well, it's a Swiss Army knife for Sage. It allows you to import pretty much anything into Sage, anything from Amazon orders, eBay orders, iPad applications, which we also develop, EPOS, web shops, SQL, all sorts of things. It covers all the major day-to-day transactions, sales orders, purchase orders, sales invoices, and so on. So you can make yourself a lot more efficient by importing en masse rather than keying them in one at a time. So let's have a look at the first demonstration, which brings things in from an Excel spreadsheet. So let's kick it off and then I'll tell you about what it's doing in the background. So the printers have been sending me emails of the meter usage and the serial numbers and things, which we'll have a look at in a minute. And what I've done is I've taken that information and I've manually keyed it into an Excel spreadsheet, which looks like this. I'll look at that in a second. So let's kick this off and get it to import, and I'll tell you what it's doing in the background. Off it goes. So the Excel spreadsheet holds details of who the customer is, the serial number of the printer, any purchase orders that they may have given us for the usage, and then it breaks it into three sections. The first section is to do with the rental charges, the second section is to do with black and white charges, and the third section is to do with color charges. So in the rental, all I need to do is put in the date that I want the new invoice to be raised for, details of when it was last invoiced, what the daily rate is, and hence what the value is, net of VAT. Same thing then happens for the black and white charges. Again, what the counter reading is now, what the last one was on the last invoice, and again what the charges there were. And again, the same thing for the color ones. So what I've done is I've actually manually read the emails and populated the Excel spreadsheet. That works very well for a small number of transactions, but if you've got a large number of printers or a large number of emails coming through, what you really need is our email listener, which basically works 24/7 for larger volumes of invoicing. And again, we can have a look at that in a second. So what it's been doing here is it's going through and doing it, and as you can see there are no invoices there, but if I have a quick look, there you go, 5 invoices have now been created. If I just go and refresh that, there it is. So let's go and have a look at A1 Design, for example, and I can see immediately that it's brought in the rental charges from March to April, 30 days at a tenner, black and white prints, again from 1200 to 1300, so there are 100 of those at half a p, and colour prints at 0.3p. And that's the invoice for A1 Designs brought in from an Excel spreadsheet. Very simple. So let me just delete those off. What I'll do now is go and import the emails. So that was okay for 4 or 5, but here I've got probably 10 emails in there. So what I want to do is go and import that. So what I do is just literally press one button, and I'll go and explain what that's doing to you in a second. So the email that's been sent back from the printers has got different bits of information in it. The most important information is in yellow, is the serial number. And that's a unique identifier for every printer that I have out there at my client sites. I can then use that information to look at what their rate is, as well as when they were last invoiced and what the last counter readings were for that particular printer. The next piece of information in green that's being sent back to me by the printers is the date of those readings. So in this particular case, this data was sent on the 10th of April, and the data that I need are the counter lists. So the printer has got a total counter, but it's also got counters for color prints, for black and white prints, as well as scan and fax numbers. What the Excel to Sage email listener can do is take that information out of the body of the email and then use that to drive automation of the invoice creation in Sage. And there we are. It's gone through and it's now created 10 invoices. So let's go and have a look at those. So exactly the same. I'll go into Sage. I'll just refresh it. And if I go and have a look at ABS garages, for instance, there we go, exactly the same thing. So rental charges, and it looks as if the last time was these guys are being charged quarterly. So that was 16th of January, 90 days. Black and white charges have gone from 99,000 to 100,000, and color counter has gone from 1,300 to 1,400. And it's gone and looked up the rates and everything else to go with it. But what it's also done is after creating the invoice, it's updated the last usage date. So the next time I come to run it, it will know the last invoice that was raised and hence calculate the new invoice from then onwards. So what are the benefits of Excel to Sage? Well, it's incredibly easy to use. It's single click stuff really. It's very quick and cost effective, and it can typically be set up in less than a day. It's very easy to change, so we can read pretty much any kind of email with structure in it and use that to drive automation of transactions being created in Sage. There are lots of add-ons, so we've already looked at the automation in the email modules, but also we can use it for bringing data in from SQL databases, from MySQL databases, which quite a lot of websites use. We can use it for intercompany transaction, charities, all sorts of things. But in summary, it makes your invoicing process a lot more efficient. In effect, it becomes 24/7 because there's no data entry, there are no input errors. It just sits there in the background with the email listener, and it'll then automatically just create these for you and get the invoices out to your customers as quickly as possible. Thank you for your time and interest in Excel to Sage and our import module for printer rental and meter readings. Please feel free to give me a call or drop me an email for your requirements, and also to arrange a free trial. Thank you.